Dear children, yesterday I was taught you lesson third, administrative structure. In this lesson, I taught Charter Act and Civil Services. Now, repeated civil services and army. Look at the page number 21st. Civil services. The Governor General's Council was assisted by a large number of officials who constituted the civil services. The Indian civil service became one of the most efficient, powerful, and prestigious service in the world. In the beginning, the company's officials and employees include traders and clerks who discharge the duties of the administrative officers as well. They were low paid and so efficient and corrupt. Robert Clive and Warren Hastings tried to wipe out corruption through regulation, but they failed to organize an efficient civil service. Lord Cornwallis is regarded as the real founder of the British civil services in India. He introduced strict regulation for officials. He went private trade by the company's officials and raised their salaries. In due course of time, these officers became the highest paid civil servant in the world. The prestige and high salaries of this service began to attract young men to aristocratic families. Earlier, members of influential British families were mainly nominated to these services. By the Act of 1853, a system of open competition to the Indian civil services was introduced. The higher post was restricted to Englishmen. The subordinate posts remained open to Indians. It was difficult for Indians to get selected. This was because the examination was held in London and very few Indians could afford the cost of travel. The medium of expression was English, which was a foreign language to the Indians, and the maximum age for competing was very low. Young recruits to the civil services in India had no knowledge of the Indian affairs. Therefore, Lord Wellesley established the Fort William College at Calcutta in 1800 first to train them. In 1806, however, the task of training the official was shifted to Halbury College in England. From the administrative point of view, the British India was divided into several districts, each under a collector. The key men in the administration and overall responsible for collection of revenue and maintenance of law and order. Army. The army was important for protection and extension of British Empire in India. The company's army was first raised during the Carnatic Wars. Later, the presidencies organized their independence armies. The bulk of the army consisted of Indian soldiers and sepoys who mainly came from the present-day Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. They were paid lower salaries. The highest position that could be aspired for by an Indian soldier was that of a Subedar. They were a disciplined force, well trained in the use of the latest arms and ammunition, as national sentiments were almost absent at that time. These Indian soldiers were loyal to their British master. However, the discrimination against the Indian soldier ultimately led to the revolt of 1857. Police. Lord Cornwallis organized the police into a regular force. In 1791, a superintendent of police was appointed for Calcutta, while other towns were placed under the control of Kotwals. The districts were divided into thana, each under the control of a daroga. Later on, each district was placed under the control of a superintendent of police. The villages had chowkidars, the police were ill-paid and hence were corrupt. They oppressed the people and therefore unpopular with the people. The high posts in the police department were reserved for the British. The police succeeded in the curbing the antisocial elements and also helped in suppressing the following national spirit. Now, judicial organization. In the beginning, the judicial administration was carried out on the basis of the traditional law of the Indians, the Shastras in case of Hindu and Shariat in case of Muslim, form the basis of jurisdiction. Warren Hastings established a civil and criminal court in each district. Two courts of the appeal, Sadar Diwani Adalat and Sadar Nijamat Adalat, were also set up. A code of the Hindu and Muslim laws was compiled to guide the judge. In 1774, the Supreme Court was established at Calcutta to try the servant of the company. Naveen Kumar, a high caste Brahmin, was sentenced to death by the Supreme Court under British law. The Indians greatly resented against it. In 1781, it was decided that the English law would be applicable to Englishmen in India and not to Indians. In 1793, the acceptable custom of the Indians were compiled. The new code was known as the Bengal Regulation 1793. Thus, a system of written law was introduced in India for the first time. However, the Indian system of law was fully codified in 1833 by the Indian Law Commission under Lord Macaulay. The new system of law was known as the Indian Penal Code, the Civil Procedure Code and Code of Criminal Procedure. In 1865, the Sadar Diwani and Sadar Nijamat Adalat were obliged and High Court were established at Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. Feature of British judicial system. The British established the rule of law in India and mean that all people were equal before the law. All distinctions based on caste and religion were done away with. The British judicial system had the following characteristic feature. First, enact law replaced customary laws. Second, judicial uniformity was established with the codification of laws that applied to both the ruler and the ruled. Third, litigation became very expensive, hence out of reach of the poor masses. Fourth, although the judicial system professed equality before the law, the Europeans were tried in social custom by British judges. Now, quick recap, you yourself study and teach by me next day. Thanks.